Natasha Lee, reporting for Action ABR. Today we are here at T-Systems in Midrand for the groundbreaking new launch of the PLM solution to the South African market. Speaking to me today is Natasha Sampson from Dassault Systems, Stephen Kramer and Werner Simpson from Fujitsu, as well as Michael France from T-Systems.
You have VW, you have Ford, you have Toyota. To one extent or the other, all of them use our solutions, and that's the bigger OEMs. But we also have second-tier customers that work with our solutions too, and that's the customers that supply into our OEMs in the supply chains. What we actually do for the motor traders, we give them the ability to design anything that they need to do with their vehicle, their parts, and any additional solutions in a virtual environment before it becomes an actual product, and then taking it into manufacturing and then taking it out into the world.
We very strongly view the market in three tiers. We have the retailers, which are really your dealers and your service agents that are out in the market. We have the tier 1 and tier 2 suppliers that are really the guys that make the bits and pieces that supply to the OEMs. And they're very important in the PLM space because what they produce and manufacture and design feed directly into the cars that we all know and love and drive around. And of course our OEM customers in terms of how they manufacture their products and deliver them to the market is absolutely critical. So in a nutshell, we have a very similar lens in terms of how we serve the markets together between Dassault and Fujitsu and T-Systems. And our responsibility is also to help integrate the applications and solutions that Dassault bring, deliver it within the environment and on the environments that Fujitsu help us with, and then connect all of that stuff together in terms of how our customers make sense of all the data and information that feeds into their collective business. It's very important from T-Systems' perspective that we have the correct software partners as well, and application partners, as well as the hardware partners that allow us to deliver the infrastructure to realize these solutions.
I think just to reiterate what everybody has said here is probably the most simplistic thing for us is the partnership. You know, yes, we provide a certain aspect to the solution, the hardware, the physical infrastructure. This has all got to run somewhere. It's got to be integrated by T-Systems, the software from Dassault, but it goes one step further, and that's why today is so special, is because the three of us are actually working together. Nowhere else in the world has this been done. And it's about partnerships, because your customers, the people that you write about, have business problems. Jointly, together, we can solve that. Independently, I don't think that's possible. We can't help solve every single problem. As even an IT infrastructure provider or a solution provider, we can't solve every business's problem. But jointly, we can certainly do a lot more together.
We would love an opportunity to engage with customers to really understand where they want to go to, and how we could then address that roadmap and that understanding with the applicable and appropriate solutions to help them achieve their success.
When we engage with our customers, and Michael just touched on it now, the model that we do it in is it is very specific and it's very unique, I believe, in that we don't go to our customers with, here is a piece of this. We go to our customer and say, what is it that you want to do? How do you want to get there? What's stopping you from getting there? And the what's stopping you part is where we come in. And once we've done that, and you know, companies in the motor industry or other industries, they'll have this problem today, they'll have another one tomorrow, but it's addressing it as you go along. But the partnership that we have, extending it to our customers, because then we become their partners, and that's how we need to work.
What are some of the obvious changes or benefits that you see once you have implemented your solutions that these companies can look forward to?
Cost containment and control, critically important. I think that we need to acknowledge that because you're 10,000 miles away from first world markets doesn't give you the right to lower your quality or increase your cost base as multinational OEMs or local suppliers into those customers. And I think that our approach is new. I think that when we collectively decided how we're going to do this, I think that offering it from the cloud, taking it on a consumption basis is really the way that the world is going to move. from a technology perspective, and we need to be ready for that now. And for me, that's the most exciting part, is that we're ready to go.
When I saw the Fujitsu solution at NOCAM in April, and I happened to run into this man, Michael, one of the things I looked at, I was thinking of a couple of customers that I spoke to last year, and they were saying, we so desperately need to move away from paper. Everything is paper-based. The problem is that when we're in the design office, it's all digitized and everyone's got digital access. Then they print out a drawing and they hand it to manufacturing, which becomes out of date. All of a sudden, the things that people are making is not relevant and it's not real because they don't have the latest information. So taking what we have in the solution from a digital perspective, looking at what T-Systems then does, you know, we have now broadened it into Mr. South African customer, the challenges that you are facing, there is a solution. Instead of your person getting a piece of paper that might not be able to read, which you alluded to, he can get a picture, it's live, it's real, everybody has the most up-to-date information. Our customers have a real problem with that, a seriously real problem with that in manufacturing. And that's where they lose most of their money. When something is virtual, it costs less. The minute you start making it real, it costs more.
We've put it together from a local perspective. We're launching it here today, as Michael actually said in the session earlier. And it's necessity based on the questions that Natasha's customers have come up with. And, well, this is South Africa. So now we take it to the rest of the world. So, you know, it's just because the customers have a need, jointly together, independently we wouldn't have thought of this. But jointly, when you saw the kiosk in NARCAM, etc., that's what brought us together to help solve problems.
Okay, if it's Werner Simpson from Fujitsu, if I can add a bit to that. The customers that we're talking about today is going beyond the just procurement of an asset. There's a life cycle focus to it. And the responsibility and the liability of OEMs and suppliers goes beyond the manufacturing phase. They carry lifelong product liability for it. And for their point of view, it's very important that they embrace, embed, and incorporate the life cycle focus on all of their products. That's what this is all about. How do we bring a life cycle focus to the products, the assets of our customers, and how we support them to manage this complex box or bundle or database of engineering content across that entire life cycle. And that may differ. You know, we spoke of the tank manufacturer. Incidentally, I know all the detail about it, and I know what went on behind it. But I said of a guy that he built a tanker on a trailer. It took him a couple of months to design and build it. Product liability associated with that it's going to keep him tied up in courts for years. Why? This knowledge-based engineering, where we embed business rules and regulatory compliance rules into the design process, didn't happen. So, from the lifecycle cost point of view, because of simple items that were overlooked during design and development, we've committed life cycle costs going well beyond what anybody expected initially. Therefore, the importance of life cycle focus on the assets is very, very, very important. Whether it's a missile, a trailer, or a power station, or a mine. You know, you've got to have a life cycle focus, and that's what this is all about. Is how do we bring all the different components from engineering, design, development through to O&M. That's why I'm so glad when I saw the slides that T-Systems put up, that there's life cycle focus, because the infrastructure we provide will allow our customers to look at it from a life cycle point of view, and not only from a design or engineering or manufacturing or fabrication. The platform allows us to provide a life cycle focus. That's what's the importance about this. That's the important thing of today. That simple item, because the world is, you know, your liability doesn't stop when you sell the car. We've seen it afford.
Takata
doesn't stop.
airbags. Takata airbags.
Yeah.
I mean, I heard, I mean, they're up to $1 billion in fines, and they're now looking at foreclosing and actually declaring bankruptcy, right?
Correct.
And I actually don't think they're going to be allowed to do it, because the question is, okay, who holds that liability if they're not there? It shifts to the OEMs,
Correct.
right? And I think that we're starting to see it across the business. And across the supply chains. We're getting questions from our customers to say their OEM customers want them to be able to track when they installed the airbag in the seat, and can we help them with this kind of thing? And it becomes hugely complex, and it's actually around crash investigation and then liability for if something happens or doesn't happen. And they need to be able to know when this happened, when they put this component which they didn't make into their component, and how does it all fit together. And I think that it's hugely complex. And to echo what Werner said, I'm of a firm belief that this extends beyond just, I mean, I know that you're focused around automotive and ABR, and that's great, but it actually extends to everything. It extends beyond where we're going and how we manage, and the liability, not only around product. I also believe it has to do around service. I believe it has to do around the banking industry. I believe it has impacts around infrastructure, how we plan our cities, how we evolve our civilization and our society as we go forward. And it doesn't stop. Where you drop the pebble in the pond and where the ripple ends is actually PLM in my world. That's the only way my mind really conceptualizes it, is I have the pebble and I put it in the pond here, and where that ends is actually where my product lifecycle management actually ends. And even in our mining industry, it'll have huge impact. And we're starting to see it now. How do you hold accountable mining organizations for exiting a mining operation? And how do they plan for that? And how do they manage it? Those kind of questions need to be answered.
I do want to add one thing. The part for me that excites me about all of this and what it does for our customers is we have a huge focus on increasing manufacturing in South Africa as a whole. It is a declining market, and we need to improve that, and we know that. Being able to do this for our customers gives them a competitive edge that they need to play in the international markets, and that is vitally important for them.
The automotive manufacturing sector and the drive for localization, that's a huge topic at the moment. I think that the week before last, or last week, prior to the ANC's policy conference meeting that's currently underway, there was a meeting between the Automotive Association and government around the commitment to transformation, and there was a development fund established, and we have seen it coming out in the last 18 to 24 months around the drive for localization for the vehicles that are manufactured and produced here, and the supply chains that impact on it. And you've seen that manifested in events like NACA, which is a component association of South Africa, where the manufacturers are actually representing themselves, looking for local partners and local suppliers. And I think that our part that we bring as a collective into that space is that we want to be able to make available platforms like the Dassault applications with Fujitsu, infrastructure, to be able to allow this localization and burgeoning manufacturing complex to actually start and be created and evolve into a mature environment. And I think that's hugely important. The automotive sector is too big to fail in South Africa. If we had to move away from that, if we had to lose that, it would have a traumatic effect on the South African economy. And our responsibility as technology and infrastructure partners is to bring to market relevant ways of managing this process.